A philosophical investigation. On the way up the palace staircase, Roger said, "I've been here before." "Are you sure, my boy?" said the philosopher royal. "Oh yes, I slid down the banisters." The philosopher royal thought, cannot distinguish truth from fantasy. Once in his study, the first thing he did was to weigh Roger, and then he measured him, and then he listened to his heart, and then he counted his teeth. He didn't learn much, but he did notice that Roger had perfectly human teeth. They were a bit like a rat's. There was no point in looking for a tail. The boy was human all the way down, no doubt about it. "Now then, Roger," said the philosopher royal, "let's do some mental tests. What is 2 and 3? 2 and 3 what?" said Roger, very puzzled. "Well, if you have 2 things and you add 3 more, how many have you got?" "Ah, that depends. If they're really little things, you still wouldn't have very much. But if they're big things, you couldn't even carry them," Roger explained. "Yes, I see. What's half of 4? "Cheese," said Roger. "Cheddar. Quarter of 4, cheddar 2. Quarter of 5 would be Stilton. 1 is Lancashire, 2 is Wensley." "I don't understand," said the philosopher royal, writing everything down. "Well, they come to the store and they ask for half a pound of number 4, and that's cheddar, or quarter pound of number 5, and that's Stilton. I likes that one. You get worms in it. Only sometimes they say just half instead of half a pound. That's how I knew what you meant. You got to keep your wits about you," he told the philosopher royal. "Oh, indeed. Now tell me, when did you learn to speak?" "When I changed into a boy." "Yes, but you didn't really change, did you? You were a boy all the time. Perhaps you thought you were a rat, but rats can't." "I never thought at all when I was a rat. I just was. So I never thought I was a rat. I never started thinking till I was a boy. Now I think I'm a boy, but it's making me confused. I hope I don't get irritated." "All right," said the philosopher royal nervously. He wasn't used to dealing with children after all, and he might have expected them to be irrational, but even the king was much more rational than this child. "Don't get upset," he went on. "Now I'm just going to ask you some questions about the world we live in. Do you know the name of the Prime Minister?" Roger laughed, as if the philosopher royal had made a joke. "No," he said happily. "And the name of the city? I never knew it had a name. I thought it was just, like a rat." "What is the name of the king?" "Ah, I know that," said Roger. "He's called King Henry. And the queen?" "No, she's not Henry. She's Queen Margaret." "And the prince?" "No, he's not Henry nor Margaret. He's Richard." "Good. You know all their names. Well done. And I know the name of the prince is who the prince is going to marry. She's called Mary Jane." "Mary Jane," said the philosopher royal. No, she's called Aurelia." Roger looked doubtful. "She might be called Aurelia as well," he admitted. "But in the kitchen, they called her Mary Jane. I do know that." The philosopher royal wrote down, "Fantasy identification with figures of glamour, common among lower classes, indicates humble origin for boy." "What's that mean?" said Roger. "What you just wrote?" "I'm making notes," said the philosopher royal, "to remind me of our conversation." "Ah," said Roger. "You're probably a bit forgetful then. Once you've learned to remember things, you won't need to do that. You can all keep them folded up in your brain. They don't take up so much room," he went on, "as long as you fold them flat. I seen Joan do that with the sheets, and I thought that's a good idea. So now I folds and irons all the things in my head, and I stack them neat. I know where they all are." "Remarkable," said the philosopher royal, and wrote, "Insane, sensory and intellectual delusions, paranoid in nature. Roger was eyeing the bell pull in the corner. "Excuse me," he said, "but you know that rope? Well, there's a loose bit of a thread at the bottom. That could be dangerous. Someone could trip over that and hurt themselves. So maybe I ought to chew it off, just that little bit of thread, if it would help," he added. "Well," said the Philosopher Royal, and then, "Yes, why not?" He turned a page and wrote "gross and unnatural appetite." Roger nibbled off the bit of thread, which was almost as long as his fingernail, and then found he accidentally pulled loose a longer piece, so he had to chew that too, and then brought with it a very tasty knot, flavoured with a length of gold thread from the tassel, and before a minute had gone by, Roger was blissfully eating his way up the bell-pull itself. Seeing him eat so well, the Philosopher Royal turned his mind to thoughts of foods and nourishment, and what rats eat, and then by a logical process to the questions of what eats rats. "Aha!" he said. "Wait here, my boy, don't go anywhere." And he left the study and hurried to his sitting room, where he scooped up his cat, Blue Bottle, and hurried back. Blue Bottle was not a philosophical cat. She was lazy and greedy and exceptionally stupid. She had no objection to being picked up and carried somewhere else, because there was very little in her head to object with. So tucked under the Philosopher Royal's arm, she just dangled her back legs and stuck out her front ones and half opened her eyes, until they went into the study. As soon as Roger saw the cat, he shrieked and leapt away. The window was open and he dived out into a flower bed and then scrambled to his feet and ran, and Blue Bottle chased after him automatically. But she was a lazy cat, and when she saw she had to run further than the edge of the lawn, she slowed down and gave up. She forgot about him almost at once, and sat down to groom herself, while the Philosopher Royal stared out of the window amazed, and Roger vanished out of the palace gates.